everyone, it's Tana. Welcome back to Adventures in Crafting. Today we're going to work with this very old but very loved wallpaper art stamp set from Altenew. And we're going to do some coloring, but rather than play music, I'm going to do a page out of Kelly Ladivola's book and do a little bit of a story time, maybe see if I can catch you guys up on what's been happening in the last year. So rather than go back to when I was sick and talk about depressing stuff, we're going to go back to August, right before we went on vacation. Dan was getting ready to go to work and got a phone call. It said, "Don't come to work today." And then 10 minutes after that, he got a phone call that said, "Don't come to work anymore, we're closing." So right out of the blue, the steel plant closed down. They moved everything to Mexico. So Dan decided to train and go into trucking, driving a truck, one of those big guys on the road. So he was in training for 8 months. It wasn't all training. It was waiting to get into the class and messing around with trying to get hours to train and learn, taking tests, going to the DMV for different, you can get different things like hazmat and stuff like that, but everything requires testing and studying. So anyway, Dan has finally caught up. Dan has found a job, and he had to go away for 2 weeks of training at least. It's 70 hours more if you feel you need more. So 70 hours of actual driving time in training, and plus 2 days of orientation. So Dan left on Easter morning, and he told the kids, behave. Behave for your mother. You know she's sick. Do what you can to help her. And I had told the kids 2 days into this, backtracking a little bit. Oh, side note real quick. You're going to see some ink splotches where my Olo markers, 2 of the colors actually, bled. Like all of a sudden ink just came pouring out. It happens every once in a while with them, and I don't know why. You can usually tell when it's going to happen though, and I try to soak it up with a piece of cardstock. Anyway, moving on. It won't matter for the card we're doing, and you'll see why when we get towards the end. So back to my story. Before I go any further with the deal I made the kids, we had a cat named Luna. We had 2 cats. Now we have 1. She passed away. We had to have her put to sleep. She ended up in kidney failure. And very sad. Everybody cried. I cried. The kids miss her. They've been begging and begging and begging for another cat that they want to name Luna too. I don't know if I agree with that name. Anyway, I told them. First we told them no, we can't replace Luna. I know it would be nice to have another cat, but we still have a cat. And we love her. And then I said, I'll think about it. Then I told them, fine, you behave. That means no screaming and yelling at each other. No fighting. No hitting your sister, Jackson. Do your chores, without being asked. Or without me having to run you down to get them done. And we'll talk about it. I'll get you a cat. And I'm thinking in my mind, this bet's never going to go over. Nobody's ever going to behave. The worst thing that's going to be for them is trying not to fight and scream at each other. That'll be the worst thing, the hardest thing for them to do. Wouldn't you know these kids are not being perfect? But I'm about to put my foot in my mouth because I didn't expect them to be perfect when I said it. And so far they're doing a pretty darn good job. So I think I might be getting another cat. Dan found out. I had to tell him what I did. He wasn't too upset with me. I think he misses Luna as well. But he's been gone now for about a week. It'll be a week. Actually, it was a week today. He just got on the road and started driving with his trainer. So now it's a countdown for 70 hours or however long it feels before he feels comfortable driving and like he's learned everything he can. But it's weird having him gone after having him home for 8 months. 8 months. I don't even know how we survived this long, to be honest with you. It's been a rough 8 months. So now we're going to go back to the card. That was a quick story time, but at least I had a story time. We're going to go over outlining all of these. I'm using I believe the 110 Special Black. And that's why I didn't worry about the ink splotches. They just instantly cover up with that dark color. Anyway, I told you guys that I'm feeling much better now. I think I finally got enough antibiotics pumped into my system after a year of having cellulitis off and on. That's originally what was wrong with me. I went septic a year ago, back in February, and ended up in the hospital for 9 days. I almost died. It was a whole thing, and I don't think I ever really quite got rid of those infections. I think they would start to go away, and then my antibiotic would be gone. I needed 2 different antibiotics for 2 different infections, both IV'd into me the last time I went to the hospital, and then 2 more weeks of it on a pill for both antibiotics when I got home. And then I just started, it's been about 2 months now. I feel so much better nowadays than I did before. Like, I felt like I was in a kind of a fog for a year. I looked sick. I felt sick. I was falling asleep all the time. Guys, I can't tell you how many cards I've made since I've started feeling better. So hopefully we can get this channel up and running again, because I feel like I took a year off. So now I'm going to stamp out my sentiment. It's a simple thank you from the stamp set itself. I'm using Pear Blossom Press sentiment cardstock there. And I'm heat embossing it with Wow Super Fine Bright White Embossing Powder. Now we're going to adhere the whole thing to a slimline card, which is 4 by 8.5. And I only cut it on the sides, so the top and bottom meet the edge of the card, and the sides have a little bit of an edge, a border. And we're going to glue this with foam strips onto the card itself. And that's it for this video, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you have not, and hit the notification bell. And I don't have photos for this one, so we'll see you next time.